Hello students. So students, today we are going to start with the class that is the same topic, our environment, but today we are going to learn something new. Yes, so in our previous class we have discussed about the two basic components. One is non-living component and the other one is living component, and they are interacting with each other, right? So we have discussed about the abiotic components, which is also called as non-living components of the ecosystem. So today we are going to learn about the biotic factors. Okay, so what are the biotic components of the ecosystem and why do we need to study this? Yes, because we are also part of the ecosystem and we also come under the living components, that is biotic components. So yes, of course we need to study about ourselves, isn't it? Yes, and we also need to study about the other biotic components which are represented by plants, animals, bacteria and fungi. Yes students, very good. So are you ready to learn about it? Yes, so let us begin. This is presented by myself, Mrs. Manisha Kulkarni. Yes, so let us see how beautiful the biotic factor looks like. It is all dependent on the rivers, lakes, plants, animals, isn't it? Yes, animals, plants, they all are dependent on the non-living components. So this is a picture which is shown here, a beautiful picture of biotic components. So let us begin with this. So basically it is classified as flora and fauna. You already know what are flora and fauna. These are nothing but the plants and the animals, and they are divided or classified on their particular structure and the different features which come under them. So functionally, if we see, then living organisms, they can be classified as producers, yes, those who produces, and consumers, those who are dependent on the producers or those who consume the food. We are going to see about this in detail. Then decomposers. The decomposers are the dead and decay organisms where they play the most important role, where I feel about it. So they play the most important role because they provide minerals and nutrients to the soil, isn't it? So if you see here, the solar energy is captured by the producers, then O2 is given out during the photosynthesis process and CO2 is taken. So carbon dioxide is consumed and the oxygen is released, which is taken by the consumers, right? And here also the same thing happens. Producers give O2 to the decomposers and they give back CO2. So this shows the exchange of nutrients and organic molecules between the three living organisms. Okay students, so let us move first to the producers. So who are the producers? Yes, of course they are the autotrophs. You have already learnt about it, that the plants, they are called as what? Autotrophs. Auto means self. Those plants who prepare their own food, they are called as what? Autotrophs. So this is the autotrophic mode of nutrition which is done in the plants, which takes place in the plants. Yes, see. So here is the sun. From here the plant take the light energy and it takes the carbon dioxide gas, then it takes the nutrients, minerals which is present in the soil, and with all this they prepare their own food, that is glucose is produced, which is used as energy source by all the plants, right? So this is all dependent on the sun's energy, carbon dioxide and the nutrients and minerals, which are the abiotic factors. So did you understand how is the interrelationship? Very good. Yes, so this interrelationship is the most important relationship in the world because we all are dependent on the autotrophs, and that is why we need to plant everywhere, wherever it is possible. We have to follow the plantation process. So nowadays I think people are more creative and they try to do new things in their home environment, in their gardens, isn't it? So everybody just try to plant the trees. Okay, students? Yes, so they are the two types. One is the photosynthetic form and the other one is chemosynthetic form. So the name itself suggests you that the green plants convert solar energy into chemical energy. Yes, the food which we take is nothing the chemical form of the energy which is supplied by the plant. So that is why they are of two types, photosynthetic and chemosynthetic. So photo in the presence of light and chemo is nothing but what? It turns into chemical energy. Yes. So the producers therefore include green plants, then photosynthetic bacteria, chemosynthetic bacteria, etc. And on land photosynthesis carried out mainly by higher plants. The plants which are taller, which have more capacity to take the light energy, convert it into starch, use it. Okay, so this photosynthesis is carried out mainly by the higher plants. And the sea organisms, so they are the photosynthetic organisms, for example microscopic algae, then planktons, diatoms and the flagellates. Okay, so see, also you can take paramecium. Yes, so these are some kinds of sea photosynthetic organisms. Yes, and the food which is prepared by these organisms is used by all other organisms. So it is either directly or indirectly. So it is also commonly said as what? Flesh in grass, right? Yes. So the second one is what? Consumers. Who are the consumers? Those who take the food, ready-made food from the plants. So they are nothing but what? Heterotrophs, who are dependent on the others, right? So heterotroph means nutrition taken by the other organisms, that is plants. So they are unable to synthesize their own food. Because we are not unable to synthesize our own food, we are feeding on the other organisms, right? So the decomposers also fit into this definition, because decomposers are also dependent on the other organisms. They can be decomposed only because of the dead plants, decayed animals, dead and decayed organisms, right? Yes, so here the consumers are broadly classified into three categories on the nature of food they consume, in what way they consume the food. So we will learn about this in detail. So the first one is herbivorous, second one is carnivorous, and third one is omnivorous. Okay, so this can be classified as what? Primary consumers, secondary consumers and tertiary consumers. Okay, so we will see what all these are actually. Yes, so who are the primary consumers? Okay, they are the herbivorous because they feed on the plant material, right? For example, if you see those pictures over here, these are the plant eating insects. Yes, they are the primary consumers. Then grazing cattle, right? Can you see the cattle grazing over here? Yes, so cow, buffalo. Then you can also take some different examples of different herbivorous animals. Yes, so the amount they consumed are commonly referred to as the consumption rate, and based on these the ecosystem can be grouped as high rated or low rated. So this is just for your general knowledge. So primary consumers can be grazers or browsers. Yes. Next one, the secondary consumers. Who are the secondary consumers? Yes, those animals which feed on herbivorous organisms, means those who eat the plants, and primary consumers, right? So they are termed as the secondary consumers. Who are the herbivorous organisms? Those who only feed on the plants. And who are the primary consumers? Those who feed on the plants as well as the animals. So they are termed as what? Secondary consumers. So therefore they are also called as what? Carnivorous. So can you see the fox? What does fox eats? It is dependent on the other animals. they take it as a prey, right? Yes. Then who are the territory consumers? These are the carnivorous heterotrophs, means they are very few, not much. They are not feeding on the grass, or they are not feeding on the plants. They are completely feeding on the carnivorous animals, means those animals who eat only animals. So they are called as what? Carnivorous heterotrophs. And we have very few numbers of carnivorous heterotrophs in the world. So most birds of prey and cats fit this category. So can you see leopard or hawk? They does not eat any grass, plants, anything. So they, what do they eat? They eat only animals. So they are purely carnivorous animals. So these come under the territory consumers. Okay. So are you clear about it? Very good. Then decomposers. So decomposers are the one who feed on dead material, and that dead material is broken down before being absorbed. We have already seen in class 7th. That is how fungus and bacteria are dependent on the decomposers, right? So they does not swallow the food, or they does not take the food as it is. They first break down them in a solution form or either in a simple form, and then they eat those food. So they are called as what? Decomposers, because they are dependent on the dead materials and not the live materials. Okay. Yes, so detrivorous plays the initial role of breaking up large bodies into small particles. They cannot eat the large bodies all at once. So that is why they break down. We do not swallow immediately. We also break the food into simpler substances, right? So they are decomposers who are mainly fungi and bacteria. See, so here I have given one example through this diagram. So here they are the producers. These plants are the producers. Primary consumers feed on the plants. Primary carnivores feed on the plants as well as the primary consumers. Then the fox, if you see, these are the secondary carnivores. They only feed on the animals, and these animals, they feed on the primary consumers as well as plants. And then if you see here, this is the territory carnivore, like leopard, lion, tigers. These all come under the top carnivores. That is, they are dependent on the only carnivorous animals. Right, students? Very good. So this together, it is called as what? Trophic level. Why it is called as trophic level? Yes, these producers and the different kinds of consumers like primary, secondary, tertiary, they all are involved in a nutritional relationship, right? Because they need nutrients from one another and they need to give nutrients to one another. So that is the nutritional relationship which involves the eating and being eaten, right? So they are eating also and they are being eaten also, isn't it? So this represents the different levels of feeding in the ecosystem, and that is why they are classified as what? Trophic level. Okay, so these are the plants, grasshoppers, rat, eagle. So they are dependent on one another. Okay, so let us see what is the chain food web. Okay, so it is a typical food chain. Let us go back to the simple examples we have studied earlier. Okay, so if you see here, it is a simple chain which is characterized as grassland food chain, and second one is aquatic food chain. Okay, so if you see grassland food chain, yes, see, so this is the solar energy which is taken by the plant, then some insect which is eaten by the frog, then this is eaten by the snake, and again this is eaten by the eagle, isn't it? So it is a grassland food chain which takes place on the land. Okay, and if you take aquatic food chain, then this takes place only in the water. Okay, So this kind of nutritional relationship where the food energy is getting transferred from one trophic level to another trophic level, that is called as what? Food chain. Are you getting? Very good. See, now this is some kind of different example. Here so many things you can see. This is the plant which acts as a producer. It takes the light energy, that is prepares the food with the help of photosynthesis process. It gives out oxygen. It takes in carbon dioxide from the air. So this carbon dioxide is given by whom? By we people, because we take oxygen and we give carbon dioxide. So this carbon dioxide is also given by the vehicles. Okay, then the rabbit is a grass eating animal, then fox is the meat eating animal, and when they are dead or decayed, they act as a decomposers. So here fungi are the decomposers, bacteria are the decomposers who feed on the other organisms. They break down them into simpler form. Okay, so basically rabbit and fox, that is meat eating animal, decomposers, these all come under the consumers. Okay, so you can see how beautiful relationship is there, and if this chain is continuous, then only our ecosystem can run properly. If everything is flushed out, then what happens? Nothing will remain on the earth, right? So we are living organisms and we are alive because of this food chain, and this food chain takes place everywhere. Everywhere means even on a microscopic level, molecule level, everywhere this takes place. So this is not left anywhere, right? So this food chain is very important to study and to understand. So students, I hope you understood this. Thank you for watching this. Go through the video, and if any doubt, you can ask me in the WhatsApp group. Thank you, students.